Hello, and welcome to what will be a new serial series weekly called Last Week with Nora, in which I kind of discuss my favorite watch of the week. And this is something I'm doing in an effort to challenge my own skills, because I've always been a very strong writer, but less so a public speaker. So I really want to try exploring cinema through a different kind of medium, aside from writing. Just get more comfortable. Also, just think it'll be fun, can bleed a little more personality into it, a little more expression, physical expression. So, yeah, without further ado, here we are. So, speaking for last week, and I'm recording this a little belatedly, my favorite watch was Far From Heaven, directed by Todd Haynes, and this was at Outfest, and I was very fortunate, thanks to my friend Anna, to be able to attend in person with Julianne Moore and Todd Haynes in attendance, and that was absolutely incandescent. Super cool, super great, just an all-around great experience. But, obviously that might seem like a predilection for me to favor that movie just because of the way and the physical experience, but even outside of that, Far From Heaven was a movie I've been meaning to see for a long time. Obviously, being a big fan of melodramas, and Cirque in particular, and Fassbinder, and I was always curious about how, Haynes' version would measure up to the first two. Obviously, Cirque originates it with classism, really, in this 50s suburbia, and then Fassbinder translates it into this sort of brutal 70s Cold War Germany with the classism, but also adds in the element of racism, which to me fascinating, and just I loved the actual use of the language barrier as someone who is struggling to learn German. Für Essen, Angst Essen, he's just not saying the words in the correct order, but there's this connection. And so I was like, well, how is Haynes going to build upon this or evolve this further? And I was quite surprised because, I don't have the best track record with Haynes. I really, as you know, don't like Carol. But I was kind of blown away just by the composition of it all and how nuanced it was, and just the additional themes of sexuality that he weaves in. So we see a return to the 50s, and what was really cool was just the way that Haynes explains he actually laid all these different color palettes, and everything was shot so meticulously as to capture the Circean spirit, that those vivid technicolor pigments, and that really jumps out in the film. Just beautiful, gorgeous cinematography. But anyway, we have the gardener. We have classism, and we have racism, because the gardener is black, so we're reckoning with that in a little, Fairfield County, Connecticut suburb, so very, very intense. And then additionally, in the husband character, we have this additional element of sexuality, of queerness, as this new narrative thread kind of conjoins as Julianne Moore's character is trying to navigate this, the dissolution of her marriage, and just doesn't, is a nice person and kind of stuck in this rigid society, just desperate for connection. And the husband, on the contrary, is just very angry, very wound up, very pent up, a lot of shame. And again, excellent performance here by Dennis Quaid, fucking haunting some of these moments. And I thought it was very interesting, too, that what the movie ultimately says and how Haynes depicts it, and has truth to it, that, as the male, Dennis Quaid kind of has the privilege to uproot and leave the family on his own and resettle with his partner in relative anonymity. And while obviously being gay was, you know, just as much of a issue as, you know, interracial dating, he's able to mask it easier. You can mask queerness, especially if you are a super corporate, masculine career guy. Julianne Moore could not mask her relationship with the gardener, whose name is eluding me. Is it Dennis something? And I'm so sorry. I probably should have consulted IMDb before or while doing this. I just kind of did on the fly, and I have the memory of a sieve. But you can't hide that. People take notice to that. And it's like, the more you do try to hide it, like, you know, when they try to meet in like a little enclave, like his community versus her community, or like a little cafe, word travels so fast and people are staring, and immediately the ostracization soon follows. So yeah, I mean, it's so layered and complex that you have gender and sexuality at once on display in those dynamics, and how unfair it is that, you know, and also the fact that Dennis Quaid just, you know, kind of relinquishes the kids. Julianne Moore is trying to keep her family together, and it's falling apart, and she can't derive happiness from the one place where she finds it. I think my favorite part was the ending. I'm trying to keep it vague, like, so I'm not too spoiler-ish. Obviously it's like a 20-year-old movie. Many people have probably seen it, but just in case those who haven't, just so open-ended and just kind of very cyclical, like a return. Just the way that Haynes once again comes back to this slow pan. Instead of zooming inward, we're zooming outward now, and it's just like, for 2 hours we had this ephemeral escape into this picturesque, idyllic, you know, but not so nice 1950s suburb, and now we're stepping out, and, you know, everything is sort of up in the air, but there's triumph in Julianne Moore's character despite all the hardship that she weathers. She is still out there, she's still going, she's still supporting herself, she's still raising a family, and I think that is an incredibly important display of womanhood on screen, and just beautiful in its own way. It's definitely not my favorite iteration, though. Surprisingly, Sirks isn't either. I am impartial to Ali Field's Soul. Fassbender has this cruelty. It's almost brutal that bleeds into his pictures. It's emotional. It's just, if you know Fassbender, you know this well. And that, to me, I think, and maybe I'm a glutton for punishment or a masochist or both, I don't know, it just really sinks in to the film and into memory for me of just how vicious people can be, because really it's about the backlash, the retaliation, the behavior. And I just felt, you know, obviously the way that society behaves in Sirks and Haynes is not so nice and vicious, but Fassbender takes it to another level. And I just think that the framing, you know, everything is just such a cohesive feel to everything that Fassbender is doing. So that is my favorite, the trio. But yeah, so I guess that will about summarize this week's video. Thanks for coming by and listening. I really look forward to debunking and debriefing whatever the hell I watch this upcoming week. I don't think I have anything currently on deck that I know of. I mean, I'd like to get to see Nope, but we'll see. I have a mountainous backlog of Criterions and everything to watch, and I will probably still end up watching something for free online out of thirst. So with that being said, bye.